Hi, my name is Michael Helfrich, and I'm an IT student here at the Florida State University in the College of Communication and Information. I graduated this semester in the fall of 2014, and I am currently doing a Raspberry Pi DIS, which is Directed Independent Study, along with Professor E. Barandri at FSU. And I'm covering a bunch of different Raspberry Pi topics, and for today's, we're going to be talking about Samba. Samba is the standard Windows interoperability suite for Linux and Unix, and it's really, really great. And I know that sounds really complicated, but it's actually way easier than it sounds. It's a way to allow Windows and even Mac now computers to integrate with Linux computers. So, for example, you can set up things like network shares and networked printers and different networked devices that all go through a Linux machine that can be accessed by by a Windows or Mac machine, basically. And it's really, really simple to set up, and it sounds overly complicated, but it's actually super simple. I don't know why it's named Samba, but that's what Samba is. So why would you want Samba? Well, in the basic principle, I would say for setting up network shares. So in this video, we're actually going to cover setting up a network share for backing up files or just being able to put files somewhere else as a safekeeping. So if you want to back them up, if you want to store them there, you can basically turn it into another hard drive remotely. You can also set up networked printers. We aren't going to be able to cover that in this video. It's a bit more complicated. And it's really nice to have like a network drive if you have a VPN like this. So let's get started. We're going to assume the Raspberry Pi is on and boot it up and connect it to the network, and that you know the IP address. If you don't, you need to go to the Raspberry Pi, log in, and run ifconfig on it to get the IP address. So let's start. So we've opened up PuTTY, and we're trying to SSH in. So the first thing we need to do is enter the IP address, which is 10.10.20.103. Port 22 is fine. We're going to put in Pi, Raspberry, and we're in. So we want to run sudo apt-get update, make sure it's all the way updated. Alright, so the update process is finished. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with upgrade. So sudo apt-get upgrade. And it shouldn't find anything. If it does, just press Y and enter, and it will upgrade all of the packages. So now let's start installing Samba. So we're going to run sudo apt-get install Samba. Then we're going to press Y and enter, and it'll take a couple minutes for this. So now once that's finished, just to be safe, we're going to run sudo apt-get install samba-common-bin. You can also merge these together when you're doing the install process earlier on. Alright, so now we're going to run sudo smb password-a pi. And what this does is it's going to set a password for the user Pi. So yeah, we can't. The issue here is that Samba has its own password database, unlike using the same database as Linux. So we're going to set a password. I'm going to make it Raspberry. Now we set the user Pi as an authenticated user. Alright, so now that we've set up the Samba password, we want to go ahead and nano into our Samba configuration file. So we're going to do sudo nano /etc/samba/smb.conf, enter, scroll all the way to the bottom, and then you're going to want to put in this. And I'll leave that there for just a second. And basically what that tells it is it's going to tell it the name that we're calling this share, which is network, the path that this share is going to be at, where the files will be stored, the availability, so yes, we want to make it available, the users that can access this, which are our Pi user account. The read-only means that it cannot write, it can only read, which we don't want that. We want to be able to write. The browsable, which means that we can see it and we can access it. The public, which we don't need, and writable, we do need. So once we've done that, we're going to press Control-O, enter, Control-X, and then service, SMBD, restart. But before we do that, we want to make sure we put sudo. So sudo service SMBD restart, press enter, and it's not detecting it. It might be under a different name. There we go. So we're going to do Samba instead. On some machines it will be SMBD, and on others it will be Samba. So now in reality we should be able to go to, let's say here, just our Windows Explorer. We should be able to type in the IP address, which is this, and you'll see network. Now when I double click on network, we can type in Pi, Raspberry, and look at that, we have it. So now in reality, I can go in here and I can right click and I can create a new text file, let's say. Does this work? So does this work? Yes. And then we're going to go in File, Save. Then we'll exit it, and we'll try going back to see if it's still there, which we all know it will be. So /10. And then we can click on that. And does this work? Yes. So another thing you can do, which is really neat, is if we right-click on computer, we can click Map Network Drive, and then this will let us create a virtual drive. So I can do //10.10.20.103/network. Press Finish. And then now if I go to my computer, you can see that my network drive is there. I'm going to rename it Raspberry Pi Network Share. And there it is. So now I can go in here and I can do whatever I want. I can even open this image, which is just the Raspberry Pi image. Right there. Look at that. So again, that's how you set up Samba. It's that simple. If you have any issues, feel free to let me know. I'll be glad to help. Again, this will change probably quite often because Samba seems to get upgrades a lot these days, and it varies from machine to machine. Some machines you need to install. You'll do Samba or you'll do SMBD to restart and start. In this case, it looks like we need to do Samba rather than SMBD. But that's basically it. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. Connect with me on LinkedIn or tweet me on Twitter. And thank you so much for watching.